Imagine a country where every citizen is born a millionaire, but no one is allowed to show off. This kingdom owns 1.5% of the world's total stock market value, yet forces its citizens to pay the most expensive gasoline on the planet. They pay record-high taxes and adhere to a harsh, unwritten law. No ostentatious displays of wealth. Why does the world's most prosperous nation choose such an extreme minimalist lifestyle? Why does one of the most powerful economies operate with philosophies that defy all conventional rules? The answer lies hidden in the wonders that rise from the ice. Welcome to Norway. Norway is often called one of the world's happiest countries. Not because people feel joyful all the time, but because daily life is stable and predictable. Basic needs are handled early. Healthcare, education, and safety are not constant worries. When problems appear, systems are designed to absorb them before they become personal crises. This lowers stress more effectively than optimism ever could. Trust also plays a role. People expect institutions to work, and most of the time, they do. Nature remains close to everyday life, not as an escape, but as balance. Here, happiness is not excitement. It is the quiet confidence that life is unlikely to fall apart without warning. The country's modern prosperity was built on oil and gas extracted from beneath the North Sea, a fact neither hidden nor denied. Offshore platforms became national projects, tightly regulated and publicly managed with revenues directed into long-term funds rather than short-term consumption. That same source of wealth now funds a deliberate effort to move away from the very fuel that created it. Norway's transition toward electric vehicles and clean energy is often misunderstood as a moral performance. In practice, it functions more like applied engineering. Gasoline cars are not banned through dramatic declarations. Instead, taxes make them increasingly impractical. Electric vehicles are supported through incentives, toll exemptions, and an infrastructure that appears before resistance can form. Charging stations become normal fixtures of daily life, removing uncertainty long before habits are forced to change. Within this national character, an unusual ceremony takes place far from Norway's borders. At Edinburgh Zoo, a king penguin named Sils Olaf stands as an officially knighted member of the Norwegian Royal Guard. The title is real, recognized through formal military protocol and renewed across generations of penguins who inherit the name. To outsiders, the story reads like humor. Within Norway's cultural framework, it functions as commentary. Norway's happiness, its environmental policy, and a knighted penguin are not separate stories. They are expressions of the same decision. Oslo City. Oslo reveals itself through restraint rather than display. Along the harbor, the medieval walls of Akershus fortress still hold their ground. Just across the water, the Opera House rises from the fjord with a completely different vocabulary. White surfaces slope gently into the sea, inviting people to walk across the roof as if it were public ground rather than a cultural monument. There is no fence, no elevated pedestal, no attempt to separate the building from everyday life. The structure is undeniably expensive, yet it refuses spectacle. Its value is embedded in access, not exclusivity. This pairing is not accidental. Oslo does not place its history behind glass, nor does it isolate modern ambition-bend symbols of power. The city allows both to exist in the same visual conversation. Akershus speaks of survival and continuity. The Opera House speaks of collective investment. Together they express a national preference for public wealth over private display. The rhythm of the city follows the same Logic. Streets feel clean, but not polished. Movement is unhurried, public. Spaces are designed to function first, impress second. Wealth here does not announce itself through height or noise. It appears in reliability, in maintenance, in the absence of urgency. Oslo does not try to look rich. It tries to work well. Morgenstava Church. Morgenstava Church stands as a record of how a society learned to survive by listening to its materials. Built in the late 12th century, the structure was assembled almost entirely without metal nails. Viking-era carpenters relied on precise joints, wooden pegs, and an intimate understanding of how timber behaves over decades of moisture, frost, and movement. Every beam anticipates swelling. Every connection allows the building to breathe with the seasons.